Antonio Conte will be Inter Milan's coach for the next season. Inter releasing this statement today saying the club and Antonio Conte had a constructive meeting today focused on continuity and strategy in which the two parties laid the foundations to continue working together on the club's project. Let's welcome to the show for the first time Adriano Del Monte in Milan, who has of course been following this story. Just put some context into it, because many thought maybe this could be the end, considering what we've heard from Conte post-match on the last couple of occasions, criticising the club.
Certainly, Dan, if you heard that very closely, it looked like his time at Inter was done after just one season at the club. And even as early as this morning here in Milan, most of the reports were indicating that Inter were already lining up former Juve and Milan boss Massimiliano Allegri to replace Antonio Conte. But after a lengthy 3-hour meeting, but a constructive one, the two parties have agreed terms. Conte will be the coach next season for Inter Milan, and I think a massive result in the end. Inter fans here already very pleased from what I'm seeing online and hearing around the streets, because Conte has brought some stability to this side. They haven't had too much stability in the recent decades. So I think a massive step now going into next season. He's second, of course, off the back of a very positive first campaign, losing to Juventus by 1 point in Italy, and of course that Europa League final as well. So promising season to come and a very exciting season ahead in Italy.
What was his aim from these negotiations? What was he trying to get from the club?
Well, effectively, he wanted a little more control over their direction in terms of their transfer strategy. It was well documented that in the lead up to his first season, he was keen on Arturo Vidal and Luka Modric as well. Both of those players failed to arrive at Inter. We know that Hakimi is coming in next season. So once that decision was made to bring in Hakimi, I was very confident that Conte would remain. But I think he wants a little more control over their direction and strategy going forward, and that is how he's been successful previously at various clubs that he's coached in Italy and abroad.
Robbo, you've said it before, you know, he's a great coach, maybe not the best manager.
In terms of his man management with the hierarchy with some of the players hasn't always been the greatest. We saw when he left Chelsea, he didn't leave up particularly well, having had to go at one or two of the players. He got rid of one player by text, but he's an excellent coach. And now I think if he doesn't get control of the players that are coming in, he got Lukaku in. The player that really caused the problem was Christian Eriksen, because Conte's a manager that likes to play a system. He doesn't get players in and then build a system around the players. He plays his system and tries to buy players to play within that system. And Eriksen was never going to get in that system. There was no place for him in the team. They don't really play with a number 10. They don't play with a wide player that wants to be a creative player. They play with wing backs. So that was the big issue with Eriksen coming in. He didn't want him. The club bought him, and that was one of the stumbling blocks. Now he can get the players in he wants to make sure that they fit into his game plan, which is a very good game plan when they're playing well.
Frank, how much do players pay attention to all of this noise that's going on?
Well, a lot, because, you know, they want to know if the next coach or the coach already there will put them in the first 11. So it's they pay very much attention to that, and they want to know what's going to happen. So of course for Eriksen it's kind of a bad news, and maybe we think of leaving if he hasn't got a little place or a little room in the starting 11. So that's going to be very, very interesting, and also the way you want to play. You know, don't forget that we always complain about Conte being in reaction, not being in action, and for some players it's a problem, because they want to move forward, they want to win stuff, and of course it's nice to finish second, 1 point behind Juventus, to finish runner-up in the Europa League. But some people and some players want to win stuff, and Conte sometimes doesn't go a step forward, and maybe disappoint some players. So it will be some reactions for some players who are not feeling that they're going to start, or they're going to play, or they're in the right pocket of Conte choice.
Adriano, we've talked about Lionel Messi a lot already on this show, linking him to Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. Another club that there's been talk of has been Inter Milan. How much is this? Is just rumour, speculation, hope, or how much is there some real gravity to this?
Well, there have been reports, there have been contact between the club here and Messi's party. Look, there's certain interest, no doubt about that. I think every club in world football would love to have Lionel Messi, but Inter's certainly in a position financially where they strongly believe they can make a play here for Lionel Messi. So do keep an eye on this one. There have been reports that Lionel Messi's father has been sighted in Milan in recent weeks as well. So certainly the direction of this Inter project, Lionel Messi could play a part. I think they'll do everything they can to secure his services for next season.
Could he play in this system, Robbo?
He'd have to play up front because they always play with 2 up front. The only time he's played with 3 up front was at Chelsea. But he'd have to play up front with Lukaku. That's what he wants. He wants to get the ball into the front players. He wants the 2 front players to link up as much as possible. Lautaro Martinez and Lukaku formed a great partnership because the midfield players play that little bit wider so balls can be played into them. And I think Lionel Messi would play just off of Lukaku. It would be a great combination. And that probably would see the end of Lautaro Martinez if Messi came in.
Meanwhile, away from what happened in Milan today, we heard from Andrea Pirlo for the first time, didn't we? As a Juve coach facing the press, talking about how he wants to keep Dybala. However, Higuain is out.
Yeah, Higuain is a player that I think should have probably been out last season because had it not been any other manager than Sarri, he would have been out the club because he hadn't played particularly well the year before. He looked as though he was off the pace. Even when he played last season, yes, he made some good runs. He linked up quite well with Ronaldo on occasions, but he didn't look that threat. He didn't really run in behind. He didn't go past people with the ball. He's not the player he was 2 or 3 years ago. And you could sense that he was going to be one of the first players out the door. And he would have been last season had it not been for Sarri being the manager.
But Adriano, it's going to be difficult, isn't it? Juve want to make all these changes, but they've got a lot of people on big wages. They're going to be difficult to get rid of.
Well, it certainly has been their undoing to some extent and their issue now that they do face going forward. Sami Khedira is another one who's been plagued by injury. They're still yet to reach an agreement for termination of his contract. A number of other midfielders there in the squad as well. Middle and Pjanic recently joining Barcelona. They do have a number of issues to address, but I think the big takeaway from the press conference today for Andrea Pirlo, Ronaldo and Dybala look set to stay, which is a massive positive going forward for Juventus into the new season.
Frank, how excited are you about the appointment of Pirlo? Does it work for you?
Yeah, it could work. If he has the attention of all the players, he will. He has the credit. And I always say that with the new generation, it's always good to come in the dressing room as a coach with a big credit like Zidane. We saw how much the players listen to Zidane and how much they go on with him and go along very well. So I guess with Pirlo, really the legend of the Serie A, the national team, and of course Juventus, it will be listened by the player, and I'm very fan of those kind of people, you know, who think a lot, who have a theory about football. So I want to see it, of course, but I'm very up for it, and I think it's a very good choice for Juventus. Now, saying that, I just want to make a little note about something that has been said lately. When we see that Koeman wants to get rid of some players, like Pirlo just said that he wants to get rid of some others, like Higuain. They have contracts, and some coaches make me laugh because those players, they're not going to go because they are on big wages to another club where they're going to be offered maybe half of it. They are, most of them, at the end of their career, and they are looking for one thing on top of everything else: the money.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.